art is as old as man. Okay, we've had, for me, art is living. Art is art. I do not say, I don't know if I should classify some form of art as old art and new art. I know that art is art. Okay, the older generation, of course, we are all products of our environment. So the older generation expressed themselves, okay, because they were products of their environment. They got give me the word now, their inspirations, okay, from their environment, probably from what they read, their imaginations, and so on and so forth. Same with those of us today. We get our inspirations from, I could get my inspiration from your mustard, okay, from the goats roaming about. So for me, art is living. The same way art has been in the old, for me, that's the same way art has been, okay, till now. But because of the generational gap, we tend to kind of carry over certain happenings or kind of document history in form of art because, like I said before, we are all products of our environments.
The question is, old art, new art. When we are talking about art, there must be a starting point. And you said art is as old as the existence of man, on its own. And then looking at it chronologically, when we're talking about, arranging it based on period, then we can say there is old and there is new. Because if we are not tired of the past, there is no way we can move forward to the newness. So based on that, we can, arrange it and put it in that way that we have old art. Like during the time of Michelangelo, Raphael Sancho, and a lot of them like that. And when you still see their product, it's as good as even they were just done. So looking at it from that angle, we learn from the past. Without past, there won't be present. And then from present, we project towards the future. So I want to believe that there is old art.
Now, if those same old works look like new art, would you classify them as old or new art?
Yeah.
Now, can I comment there? Excuse me.
Okay.
I think what affects this kind of situation is this. We are having, most especially the Western world, there has been this development from time past. And whatever appears in your act is actually what you see around. So the same thing is happening. The development then is almost still the same. So that is why you still see them having that lineage of art, whereby you can say this is the old and the new are like the same, compared to Africans, where at a certain time they were kind of way we do our thing, and once we begin to get those influence from the West, it begins to affect our work. So both old and new at the point, they still look alike compared to the ancient, deep ancient, where there's no development. If you look at the kind of art they have then, compared to when development starts, this kind of millennium generation, then you could see the difference because of the development at that period.
And even also with the technology and everything, the camera, they are all arts, and in the time past, there are things like that were not in existence. So we can say there's a new form of art, but saying there's old art or new art, I don't know. Maybe they are old artists, but the art is always new.
I think we need to get some things right. I said when we base it on time, that is period.
Okay.
There is no way we can go back to the past now and say we want to import it to this new time. And some things were done during that period. And so based on, I made mention of chronologically, that is arranged based on period. Then if time is anything to go by, then we have the past and we are having the new.
I think there is old art and there is new art. My reason for that is because I remember back in school, beginning of art history, they used to talk about the early men.
Early Renaissance.
The early men, beginning from the Mesolithic, beginning from the Paleolithic, Mesolithic and the Neolithic. How the men started painting they use their blood to paint on their
Animal
caves
cave,
and all that. And with time, they started doing some magic kind of art. So I think there is old art and there is new art, because now we cannot we can use our blood as rare or to represent anything in form of painting. So I would say there
But some
is
people,
old
I'm
art
sorry,
and there is new
in
art.
performance art, some people go to the extent of facing themselves.
No,
I think
even
that's
even
crazy.
that
It's not
that you
that's
cannot
crazy.
It's
classify
art.
that as art. That is a medium.
It's a medium.
It's a medium, not the art
that's what I
itself.
was saying.
Now, even if you look at those times where they paint, the kind of painting they do, even if you look at this generation, they still try to imitate them.
So
Yeah,
So
there's
how do you
always-
classify that?
I think
Uh,
what we should know here is this, that fine, I will agree that there is old art, but how do you classify the old art? Is it arts that are produced way back, or art that are produced now? Because if you check their background, you understand, then you know they're not really too civilized, no sophisticated materials for them to work with, and they will make use of the available materials they have, you get. And now they are no longer in that era, but we are still way back where they've passed, so we are still using that same kind of improvised material, you understand, we African now, which will now tend to look like their own old art, you understand, of which they're like, don't forget that Picasso studied the African culture just to develop those kind of art, but we is in us, you understand, is in us, so we are still doing it the way we can do it with the improvised material. So I would say the idea is not old, you understand, the idea is still here and present, you understand, it's just the use of materials now that is now
The medium
changing,
has
and the
changed.
time, the medium, everything,
Yeah,
so
sorry
that's what
to
I
cut
feel.
you up. You made mention of civilization.
Yes.
When we're talking about civilization, I don't want you to just liken it to what is happening now, because civilization is a thing that graduates, moving from one step to another. So even those early men, they were civilized
in their own way.
in their own way, because nobody taught them how to paint. From their they conceived the concept and they started doing it, and they even used some of their arts to aid their life, to earn their living, because whatever that is going to happen in the physical must have first happened in the spiritual.
In the spiritual.
So they know how to conjure and then bring some things to happening.
Like
Okay,
can animals.
Yes,
If you
yes.
want to kill
for
animals
hunting.
now,
Yes,
they
they
just
will-
draw the
yes.
animal.
Like
and they-
rock art.
Yes.
Yeah,
rock
something
art.
like that.
Do you know, before the slavery,
Yeah.
we are doing art.
Mhm.
You understand?
Yeah.
So we are not influenced by them. The truth is, they've been able to move from that era. You understand? But we got to that era late. So I believe God talked to everybody at the same time,
In different ways.
in different ways. If our creator say, I give you this idea, do it, and you think you are the only person who has that idea, the same idea
Nothing new
is
under the sun.
is in other person
7,000
outside
other people.
outside in a more civilized, in a more civilized world. So I feel, if we are talking about the old art, I don't still agree that we should only look at the time of Michelangelo and all. So I will not rate it as time, but I will say, fine, is just an era of civilization. I mean, moving from this era to another era, which every part of the world passed through.